Do you know what your teenager believes about God, about Jesus? What does he or she think about the church or the Bible? As Christian parents, I think we probably know what we believe about those things. But if we're being honest, a lot of the times we have no idea what our teenagers believe about God. We have no idea what our teenagers think about their relationship with Jesus Christ. Do they even have a relationship with Jesus Christ? I think we need to know that. As Christian parents, I think we need to know where our teenagers are spiritually. So, how do we find that out? I think we ask them. I think we simply ask them. But maybe before we ask them some questions about God, maybe we need to ask ourselves a few questions. In fact, yesterday on the Trusting the God of the Gospel Facebook page, we published an article called Three Questions to Ask Yourself Before You Talk to Your Adopted or Foster Teenager About God. And today, for just a couple brief moments, I'd like to review those three questions, unpack it just a little bit to help us prepare to talk to our teenager about God. So here's question number one. Am I a disciple? Am I a disciple? Am I a follower of Jesus Christ? Because let's face it, if we as parents desire that our teenager becomes a follower of Jesus Christ, we're going to have to be a follower of Christ as well. We're going to have to be a follower of Christ first. So am I a disciple? A.W. Tozer once said, only a disciple can make a disciple. Did you get that? Only a disciple can make a disciple. Those of us who claim Jesus Christ as our Savior are disciples of Christ and are called to disciple others. In fact, as parents, one of our greatest responsibilities, one of our greatest privileges, is the discipleship of our children. You see, discipleship goes beyond simply mentorship or apprenticeship or coaching. The specific goal of a discipleship relationship is to help that person become a follower of Jesus Christ. Discipleship is always Christ-centered, and we get to disciple our teenagers. But first, we must be disciples. Are we? Okay, on to question number two. What influences in the life of my teenager are moving him or her closer to God? If we took the time to list all of the influences in the life of our teenagers, not only would we be here a long time, but our list would be huge. Our kids can't turn around without being influenced by something. Sometimes it's a positive, healthy influence, and other times not so much. What are the primary influences in the life of your teenager? Are those influences pulling them closer to God or pushing them away? Depending on how you answer that question, maybe it's time for some change. Maybe it's time to begin intentionally adding some godly influences into the life of your teenage son or daughter. It's something to think about. And our last question, what is in my teenager's past that might be keeping him or her from fully embracing God? Okay, so this one becomes super relevant for our adopted and foster teenagers. These kiddos have typically experienced some combination of trauma, of abuse, of neglect, of abandonment. Those experiences have a profound impact on what they think about God. For example, a teenager who experiences abuse as a child from someone who was supposed to have loved them, that child may be very, very slow to embrace the fact that there's an all-loving God who created him and wants to have a positive, healthy, safe relationship with him. So what do you know about your teen's past? What is it in your adopted or foster teenager's past that could be keeping them from embracing God? That's it. Those are the three questions. Number one, am I a disciple? Number two, what influences in my teenager's life are moving him or her closer to God? And number three, what is in my teenager's past that might be keeping him or her from fully embracing God? I think if you take a few moments to think through each of these questions, you'll be better prepared to begin that discussion with your teenager about God. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to review this content. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see you next time.